5 centuries ago, Spain looked west across the Atlantic, hungry for gold, power, and new worlds. The lure was gold. Rumors of empires rich beyond imagination, cities paved with precious metals. For Spain, gold meant power, armies, navies, and dominance over rivals like Portugal. But conquest was also a crusade. The Spanish saw themselves as saviors, bringing Christianity to heathen lands. Priests sailed with soldiers, convinced they were saving souls, justifying conquest as divine duty. Glory was the final ingredient. For King Charles and the conquistadors, the New World promised fame and fortune. Ambitious men from humble backgrounds could become legends, transforming their lives through conquest. This potent mix of greed, faith, and ambition set Spain on a collision course with the Americas. The stage was set for a cataclysmic encounter that would reshape two worlds. At the center of this drama stood Hernán Cortés, ambitious, cunning, and willing to risk everything for glory. His counterpart, Moctezuma II, emperor of the Aztecs, ruler of a vast, sophisticated empire but haunted by omens and prophecy. The arrival of pale-skinned strangers seemed to fulfill ancient legends, leaving Moctezuma paralyzed by uncertainty. La Malinche, a brilliant Nahua woman, became Cortés's translator and advisor. Her insight and diplomacy were crucial. She bridged worlds, helping Cortés navigate the complex politics of Mesoamerica. The Tlaxcalans, fierce enemies of the Aztecs, became Cortés's most vital allies after initial conflict. They saw the Spanish as a means to finally defeat their oppressors. Thousands of indigenous warriors joined the Spanish, providing the numbers and local knowledge needed for conquest. Without these alliances, Cortés's expedition would have been doomed. The conquest was not just a clash of individuals but a collision of entire peoples and ambitions. Each played a role in the unfolding drama that would decide the fate of an empire. The cast was set the stage, the heart of Mesoamerica. The conquest began with rebellion. Cortés defied orders, set sail from Cuba, and scuttled his ships on the Mexican coast. His message, no retreat, only victory or death. The Spanish, with horses, steel, and gunpowder, appeared as supernatural beings to the indigenous peoples. But Cortés's true weapon was political cunning. He exploited divisions among the Aztec subject peoples, forging alliances with the Tlaxcalans and others. When the Spanish reached Tenochtitlan, Moctezuma welcomed them, torn between fear and prophecy. Cortés seized the moment, taking Moctezuma hostage and ruling through him. Tensions exploded when a massacre by the Spanish sparked an uprising. The Spanish fled the city in chaos during La Noche Triste, suffering heavy losses. Yet, they regrouped with their native allies, battered but determined. The conquest became a brutal, drawn-out siege. The fate of the Aztec Empire now hung in the balance. The final act was about to begin. How did a few hundred Spaniards topple millions? Technology, alliances, and disease. Spanish steel horses and cannons terrified and outmatched Aztec warriors. But numbers came from indigenous allies resentful of Aztec rule. They joined Cortés by the thousands. The conquest was as much a Mesoamerican civil war as a Spanish invasion. The deadliest weapon was invisible smallpox. Disease swept through the Aztec population, killing millions, including their leaders, and shattering resistance. Cortés exploited psychological warfare using symbols and spectacle to sow confusion and fear. The Spanish replaced Aztec idols with Christian icons, undermining the old order. The synergy of technology, alliances, and disease made the impossible possible. The Aztec Empire, weakened from within and without, could not withstand the onslaught. The world changed forever in the ruins of Tenochtitlan. The fall of Tenochtitlan marked the birth of New Spain, built atop the ruins of the Aztec capital. Spanish rule dismantled indigenous structures, replacing them with colonial administration and forced labor. The encomienda system granted land and people to conquistadors, fueling exploitation and mining for Spanish wealth. The region's purpose shifted from self-sustaining states to a resource colony for Europe. The Catholic Church led a campaign of conversion, destroying temples and building churches. Yet indigenous beliefs blended with Catholicism, creating a unique Mexican faith. A new social order emerged, Spaniards at the top, mestizos in the middle, indigenous and African peoples at the bottom. This fusion of peoples and cultures shaped modern Mexico's identity. The conquest's legacy lived on in language, food, art, and society. A new civilization was born from the ashes of the old. The conquest's impact still echoes in Mexico today. The indigenous population collapsed by up to 90%, leaving a demographic void. Spanish culture, language, and religion became dominant, but indigenous traditions survived and blended in. Mexican identity is a tapestry woven from both worlds. Mestizaje, the mixing of peoples and cultures. Colonial systems left deep scars, shaping politics and society for centuries. Land and power remained concentrated in the hands of a few, fueling inequality and unrest. Indigenous communities continue to fight for rights and recognition, echoing struggles begun 5 centuries ago. The Conquest's legacy is one of both destruction and creation. Understanding this history is key to understanding Mexico's challenges and resilience today. The past is never truly past. It lives on in every aspect of modern Mexico. For centuries, the Conquest was told as a tale of Spanish heroism and inevitable triumph. Today, historians see a far more complex story, one shaped by indigenous agency, alliances, and the devastating force of disease. The Conquest was not just a military feat, but the result of internal Mesoamerican conflicts and global forces beyond anyone's control. Indigenous peoples were not passive victims, but active participants making strategic choices. The Columbian Exchange, plants, animals, microbes, transformed both worlds more than any battle. The Conquest's true legacy is one of tragedy, resilience, and profound cultural fusion. It's a story of human beings, not gods or demons, caught in the currents of history. The collision of worlds created the Mexico we know today, complex, vibrant, and forever changed.